great to welcome to this episode of ABNcast, recorded from MRO Europe in London this year. We're on the FL Technics stand, but we're here to talk to Storm Aviation, which is a division of FL. So welcome, guys. I'm joined by Andy Hood, who is the head of training at Storm Aviation, and Ian Jones, who's head of sales for Storm Aviation. Thanks for joining. Thanks for inviting us onto the stand for the first place and to talk to you guys. Ian, first, just give us an update, or give us an overview of what Storm is, what you do, where you do it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lee. Okay, so Storm Aviation, we've been around since 1996. Historically, we've been a line maintenance company, but we've branched out over the years. We're now a base maintenance provider from our hangar facility in Glasgow, Prestwick.
Yeah.
We're also providing technical training to the industry, some of which Andy will go into a bit of detail on.
Yeah.
And we also have workshop services in Manchester.
Okay.
And be delighted to tell your audience a little bit more about each of those divisions.
Sure. You're based in Stansted.
I am.
You were saying.
That's correct.
Well, you've got Prestwick, where Andy's based. You're head of training, Andy. Tell us what you do and what's your role at the division.
Okay, so as head of training for Storm Aviation, I'm in charge of 147 training, 145 training, and something pretty unique in the aviation space is corporate L&D training as well.
Okay. Oh, sorry, it's what?
Corporate L&D training.
Okay.
So your leadership and management tied to external qualifications.
Yeah.
That is a bit unique in aviation. It's
Yeah.
something we are immensely proud of.
Okay.
We are using this event to launch our public-facing brand called Avensa Training,
Okay.
where you'll be able to enroll yourself, purchase, and be delivered 145 training, 147 training, and the corporate L&D stuff as well.
Sure. So this is a bit of news. This is hot off the press, happening as we speak.
Yeah.
So Avensa
Training.
training. And that's going to, so tell us a bit more about that. It's going to focus on your core areas.
Yeah. Okay. So Avensa Training was born out of the need to service Storm Aviation's internal training requirement. We brought together people from the industry, from outside of the industry, and we found that with such a unique skill set and list of experiences, we were able to create something slightly different.
Yeah.
Slightly different in the way that we approach the delivery of training and the development of training. So it's sort of, if you imagine taking university level training and applying it to specific aviation competencies.
Okay.
So boroscope training, for example, we would not just get a boroscope kit, train you how to use it, do a certificate and send you off into the wild. A lot of the value for what we do comes from the pre-work that people don't necessarily get to see.
Yeah.
It's aligning it to standards of industry and out of aviation standards as well.
Okay. And we know that one of the big, or maybe the biggest challenge in aviation is people and the skills. It's been talked about a lot. The COVID saw a lot of the senior guys go, and as you said, it's an aging workforce anyway, so many are heading towards retirement. And there's not the throughput from below to replace.
Yeah.
So what is what you're doing? How is that going to address the sort of the short-term issues? Because it takes a long time to get someone up to accreditation and then the experience they get.
Absolutely. So there's a couple of things here. Storm Aviation, as a start, does a lot of outreach work. So we're very heavily involved in STEM events. We do a lot specifically through line and base maintenance of going into schools at a very young age, talking to students, talking to kids, helping them make the right choices to get them into aviation.
Right.
A lot of, depends where you are in the country, I suppose, but not a lot of people understand the opportunities that are afforded to them in the industry.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of the groundwork there, real grassroots stuff. And then in a couple of years' time, when these people have matured and they're wanting apprenticeships and traineeships and they want to be engineers or work in aviation, the way that we supercharge the process and add extra value to the training is by adopting adult learning methodology. So again, something quite rare in this industry is our approach to teaching adults.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're based in the UK. Obviously, we're a global industry, so there's potential workforce. So how do you find, particularly the UK, when you talk to these youngsters, what the impression do you get from them that how they perceive the industry? Yeah, they won't know nothing about it really, because they're too young to have really in-depth knowledge.
Yeah.
But do they have a preconception which is problematic and you have to overcome?
I'm not certain it's problematic. I think a lot of young people are quite far removed from what aviation is and can be.
Yeah.
The biggest pitfall I see is a lot of the young people we speak to think if you want to go into aviation, then you're going to be a pilot. A part of our job.
Cabin crew or pilot is
Yeah.
still a sexy industry. It's
Well,
like
absolutely.
everyone wants to be a pilot.
Of course
Why
they
not?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then when we start showcasing, hey, this is what an engineer is, or this is what sales do in aviation, or this is what training is in aviation, there is so many avenues for world-class careers within this sector. So you may find students, young kids who they want to go and they want to do finance. Now, don't laugh, there are a couple of kids that think they want to go do finance. Does happen. Explaining to them what that looks like in aviation really does broaden their horizons.
I mean, you can effectively do any profession for an airline.
aviation.
They all need lawyers. They all
exactly.
but what we're talking about here is mechanics. You can't do you can't fix an engine from home.
You're right.
So there is an issue around like a Gen Z audience, a Gen Z workforce has grown up thinking, well, I can do 2 or 3 days in the office. This isn't the kind of career. So there is that to overcome. It's not just an aviation issue, is it?
No, you're absolutely right. We tend to find when we do open workshops that it's quite often the first opportunity for these students and these kids to turn spanners. So if days gone old, potentially you'd grow up, you'd be messing around, playing with cars or motorbikes or whatever. That doesn't seem to be as prevalent or as common anymore for this younger generation. So when we go out to do the STEM events, when we do the grassroots stuff through Storm Aviation and Avenza, we find that they really do enjoy turning spanners, learning how to wire lock, getting a bit dirty. I think they've just maybe not had the opportunities there for them. It's not that they're not capable or they're not able to do it. It's that they haven't had the opportunities.
But what's also true as well is that that practical hands-on experience of being an engine is changing itself because of technology. So you're less a turner of a screw as you are a computing a robot to do it for you or something like that. So you actually become more of a technician than you are a mechanic. So I guess that is important in the industry showcases that we are moving forward. It's an exciting place to work in terms of technology you're going to be using.
It is. I think, again, that's one of the allures for kids and for people in general wanting to get into training. I think it's important to mention that a lot of our work is not just based around the STEM stuff and the students. There are a lot of people in their 30s and 40s who want to come into aviation as a change of career. So when you take, for example, a bus mechanic and you show them what a hangar is and our capabilities and what we get to do day to day, it's like dream come true for most of these people. We often brand it as one step below NASA. The standards are so high, this is what we're aiming to achieve. And they love it. The kids, the grown-ups, everybody.
Again, this may be a misperception on my behalf, but the feeling would be for jobs like this, you're more likely to get the volume of people through from emerging countries. You know, there are lots of young engineers, for instance, in India coming into this. They see these kind of work in a different light to maybe in the UK. But is that a misperception? Are there plenty of young people in the UK who go, actually, this is what I want to do. I don't want man getting my hands dirty.
I think there is plenty of people. So where I'm based in Prestwick, we launched our apprenticeship I think in February of last year, and in the first 2 weeks had over 700 applicants. And Prestwick is not London. It is not a massive population base. And there are other industries and opportunities there. So I think there are enough people interested, particularly in apprenticeships and traineeships at a young age.
And I know for a global audience, they won't have the insight into what's going on in the UK in apprenticeships. But there's a lot of work gone into apprenticeships. I know some of it's work, some of it's not, but actually they are pushing the apprenticeship agenda very heavily because it's costly to go to university now. And it's a great way to get it
firsthand. Absolutely, and it is, as we all know, cost of putting your children through university.
I want 3 years. Do I know?
Absolutely.
But it's a good alternative route. You can learn, you can earn on the same time. You can come out with a degree. You're just as qualified. And there's a great career ahead of you. Actually, you probably won't ever. You may be redundant in this job because there's so much demand for it. Ian, talk about what your area in particular. So base maintenance is your key area.
Yes. So we are, as mentioned, in Prestwick. It's a wide body facility. We're aiming to service customers on one wide body aircraft and one narrow body aircraft at the same time, running simultaneously. So we have some key contracted customers, but we're looking to grow that customer base. We've had the facility since the acquisition of Chevron Aircraft Maintenance and Chevron Technical Services, which was the workshop division in Manchester. So the customer base is growing nicely there. From a line maintenance point of view, we're at circa 14 line stations now, mostly centred in the UK, but we're far afield as the likes of Dhaka in Bangladesh, where we serve some 25 airlines, which is a great line station. So we'd like to do more of that.
Yeah. So look, there's not lack of demand for what you do. If anything, you simply can't meet the demand. So
Often it's the case.
So the industry is looking people like you guys to
Yes.
increase that capacity, which is not easy to do. It makes requires a lot of investment. It's
Absolutely.
capital investment. It's hard work. You can't
Yes.
just suddenly have a hangar
Yes.
up here overnight.
Correct.
So I know you, and I know clearly you would want to do this. Is it? It's not easy. What are your plans to try and meet those capacity restraints?
Yeah, I think from a capacity, we along with many other MRO peers, we foresee a real tight demand next winter.
Okay.
Winter 26.
Right.
So with a number of factors for that, which most of us in the industry are aware of, redeliveries, et cetera. So yeah, there's a clear foreseen big demand next winter. So we're gearing ourselves up so that we can be best placed for that.
And is that going to be the kind of the peak, and then we start to see things get better, or are we looking at this for the long term?
Personally, I see that as a two winter season.
Okay.
High level of activity.
Yeah.
Others in the industry may have a view on that.
Yeah.
But that's what I foresee.
There was the conference sessions yesterday. I don't know if you were here for those, but the audience was asked about this and how long.
Yeah.
How long do they think this sort of crunch is going to go on for? From recollection, there's a fair amount of optimism that I think 3 to 5 years was the most optimistic.
Yeah.
And most people went for that. But there was a lot of people who just said it's open-ended.
Yep.
It could well be here forever. So,
Yes.
it's a new normal, is it?
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what are the kind of solutions then that are going to help the industry? What do you think people like Storm and the wider community that are here this week need to do?
Well, absolutely. Well, I look at our parent company, FL Technics, and if I didn't mention at the start, these guys have owned us since 2011.
Yeah.
And we have a great working relationship with the FLT team. They're opening facilities, as you'll have seen and read, in the likes of Punta Cana. And I was attending the IATP conference 2 weeks ago in Bali. Great to see. Brand new facility there as well.
Right.
So, so companies like our parent company really increasing capacity substantially.
Yeah.
And bringing multiple bays to the industry is what effectively we need.
Yeah. I see a lot of companies out there go to the air shows, for instance, and they have technologies that try and take what is in existence and say, well, how can we optimize the capacity that you've got? Because maybe it's not being operated in the most efficient way possible. So I've seen these scanners of factories and of hangars to say, maybe you can do an extra, maybe you've got space to do one more line in there, which you're not optimizing. So it's almost eking every little bit of drop out of what capacity you've got.
Absolutely it is. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. And also with an eye on, a lot of our key customers are very clear that, they'd like a casualty bay in their hangar facility as well. Okay. So, yeah, we've got to be mindful of that requirement. So,
yeah, sure. The other thing on discussion yesterday in the panels was how the industry works with the OEMs and can the OEMs help with this? Look, we work in a competitive commercial industry, so was it going to be areas that people don't want to sort of collaborate on and let secrets out? But
yes,
everyone says there's a need for more collaboration and more data sharing, etc. And I don't know if it really ever happens. But are the imperatives pushing people in that direction? And would companies like you're happy to play that game a little bit? And
we are. We pride ourselves on our relationships with the OEMs, manufacturers as well.
Yeah.
That's clear for us. I think we like a bigger slice of that market as well. So an example of that is that the workshop facility in Manchester, we have a Heart 21 manufacturing capability there.
Right.
So we're in talks with some major OEMs about potentially assisting with some of the manufacturing of some parts that typically the operators are looking at lengthy lead times.
Yeah.
Just to try and ease that supply chain a little bit more. Yeah. But it's early days on that, and let's see where that goes. Yeah.
Going back to the new training brand, what's the hopes for this new brand going forward? Then what are your ambitions for it?
So the ambitions are to continue the trend towards professionalization of training within aviation. Selfishly, we would obviously like to see massive growth. We like to see massive uptake. We have our eyes in some pretty lofty targets in terms of bums in seats and people through training. Yeah. But as well, what we'd like to do is seek out the real requirements of the sector and fill those needs. Yeah. So there's a couple of products we're working on at the moment where I do not see it out there anywhere. But coming from a base maintenance technician background, I know there is a requirement for it.
Yeah.
There is a lot of organisations who are doing the best they can with what they have and their knowledge of the regulation, where I personally believe, from my experience in the industry, it could be done in a different manner.
Okay.
Whether that's aligning it with adult learning methodology, whether that's having a closer relationship with a regulator to ensure that we're happy we're being complied, whether that's making sure we get the right people for the right training.
Yeah.
That is the stuff that we would like to work
I was
on.
going to say, bringing those regulators with you as well is so important.
Absolutely.
They're that third key stakeholder, which you've got to be cognizant of.
Absolutely.
Is the nature changing? I've heard it said that maybe there's, as we go forward now, you're going to be getting more real specialists in certain areas as opposed to more generalists. Is that how you see things developing?
Certainly for training, I do believe that is the way to go.
Yeah.
It makes it interesting when you are trying to run a team of training specialists. What we look for is omnicompetent people.
Yeah.
That, I think, speaks to the specialization of training within aviation.
Right.
So we break, like I mentioned previously, our training categories into three. We have 145, 147 and corporate L&D, but they're so vastly different. So to try and have people that can work across all three, or even be a specialist in certain subjects, because as we know, aviation is highly technical, highly regulated, you need those subject matter experts.
Yeah.
To have a SME or a subject matter expert across several courses is very different.
Yeah. But before we finish, just a general word on where you think things are looking forward. Seems to be a lot of positivity about, despite the challenges. I mean, there's certainly demand out there. People want to fly and back covering again in numbers. So, Ian, how do you see things panning out over the next period, 2-3 years?
Yes. Tough question.
Yeah.
From a UK perspective, obviously, we're in not the best economic climate right now. Hopefully things will improve.
Yeah.
From a market perspective, from an aviation point of view, I think from a line, specifically online, there are lots of opportunities. We foresee that a number of airlines will potentially look to outsource where historically they've insourced.
Okay.
So that cyclical trend is back on the agenda of some of the operators. So that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
From a base perspective, I think we've talked about the demand that's upcoming. Absolutely. Workshops we see as going from strength to strength. And from a technical training perspective, it's over to this man and his team to deliver on that growth for us.
Yes. I mean, Andy, you must be positive and optimistic. You just bought this new brand, so you wouldn't be doing that if you weren't optimistic.
No, absolutely. I think there are plenty of opportunities out there.
Yeah.
Just personally and potentially selfishly for growth internally, but also to serve the marketplace. I think there's a real demand for high quality, high level training, and we would like to be the providers of that.
Yeah. Well, Andy, Ian, thanks. We'd certainly endorse that. We launched something called Best Places to Work in Aviation last year. We're about to announce this year's winners for this reason, because we see that there's amazing opportunity in aviation for people who want to go create careers, exciting careers, global careers.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's our job to try and get that out to a wider audience, and so we applaud what you're doing. So thanks very much for that. Yeah. And thank you for seeing us today at MRO Europe. Have a good show.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks, guys. Thank you.